Hi, my relatives. On today's episode of Our Storytellers, we're joined by Valerie Newbreast. Valerie has an amazing story to share, a very unique story, I'd say. And it was a privilege to be able to sit across from her and listen to it with Mom as well, too. This podcast is actually brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office, who have helped us bring these 20 episodes to life, and we're so grateful for them. And you know, I loved listening back to this podcast with Valerie, so I think we'll just jump into it. So please welcome to the Our Storytellers podcast, Valerie Newbreast.
Hello, my relatives. How are you? Here at Our Storytellers, we care about your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being, which is why we want to inform you that this podcast discusses topics that may cause trauma to listeners and viewers. These subjects include mentions of Indian residential schools, assimilation, ongoing harm, colonial impacts, and much more. Our Storytellers recognizes the need to minimize risks associated with traumatic subject matter. The Hope for Wellness helpline offers immediate help to all Indigenous people across Canada. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to offer immediate support and crisis intervention. Services are available in English and French, and in Nehiyaw, Anishinaabe and Inuktitut upon request. If you or someone you know are experiencing any harm, no matter how big or small it's perceived to be, you can call the toll-free helpline at 1-855-242-3310 or connect to the online chat at www.hopeforwellness.ca. Kinanaskaman, I'm grateful for you. Your ancestors are always with you. All my relations, Riel.
That seems really official, but that's just because that's how we align the audio, so everybody across all three of the cameras work. But yeah. Anyway, Valerie, thank you so much for coming on Our Storytellers podcast. I have some protocol here for you. And my name is Riel. I'm actually Métis from Navajo and Soto background, and my mom and dad met when I was 11 years old. So my brothers and I have been together since I was 11, and I'm almost 26 now. So we've been around in a family for a long time, and I've had the great blessing to live here on the nation. So when we got the grant, it only felt right to give back to the matriarchs of the nation, and that's what I wanted to do. And so this honorarium is actually funded by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office, and we're super grateful to have their support to bring these podcasts all together. And I'm going to pass over this blanket, this tobacco, and this honorarium to you, and then in your own way, just please introduce yourself. Easy peasy.
Sure. Okay. Are we starting now?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
We're here.
We'll be edited out. My name is Valerie Newbreast, and George is a Squamish family that I belong to. I carry my mom's name, Sďwx, and we had that ceremony a couple of years ago, actually around Mother's Day.
Beautiful.
I wanted to do it at that time. It's Mother's Day weekend, and wanted to take her name, carry her name in the community. And so there was a ceremony over by the longhouse there, and I felt more natural to have it outside. I had it outside, and then there was a fire. We built a fire, and we had our feast there after, and relatives and a lot of children were there, nieces and nephews. So we had that there, and it was a really good event for the community.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I am the oldest daughter of my mother, although there was a sister that only lived a few days, and then she passed. And then, so I'm the oldest daughter. My mother and my Aunt Margaret survived of all of my grandmother's children. So they were the two that survived, and my mother is the older one, so I'm the oldest of the my mother, and then I have 7 other brothers and sisters who live off reserve.
It's a big family.
It's a big family, lots of nieces and nephews. My mom moved off reserve. She met Sďwx man, and they moved onto Vancouver Island. And from there they acquired a 10-acre plot of land, a lot of cedar, a lot of naturals, and a little creek river kind of going through the property as well.
Beautiful.
And so what I remember, we had as many animals as possible. We were, Dad, Mom wanted to be self-sufficient, and so we had many animals, cows, chickens, geese, goats, on and on. And we had a couple of gardens, large gardens where we could grow carrots and potatoes, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, they were pretty self-sufficient. And of course, we had the 10 acres to run around. Back in the day, we could quite freely do that without any concerns. So we were always close to nature, and I didn't realize it was just organic. I took a natural connection to nature.
Yeah.
That way. Yeah, so I really had a really good beginning as a child and as a baby.
Yeah.
And then my brothers and sisters after that, of course. We were all born and we're at the farm. So
Born at the farm.
no, not at the farm, but we
gotcha.
were at the farm. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
raised
We were
all
raised
together at the farm.
Yeah.
So.
Were you going to school?
Yes, I did. I was young, but I did go to public school.
Mm-hmm.
And we hopped on the bus and went quite far away, the way the boundaries were at that time. But we went, I don't know, maybe 25 miles away and then back. And so
Every day?
Every day on the bus and then coming back. So that...
Did you enjoy school?
I participated. I did. I did the best.
That's awesome.
I did the best. I just went to school and along with it, kind of integrated with in a public setting, a school setting. I don't know how many Indigenous students there were because it wasn't acknowledged. We weren't brought together. It wasn't acknowledged.
Right.
So I went to school and I enjoyed school. I did what I needed to do, and it was really basic compared to today. They have a lot of extracurricular today, I guess, to try and balance, like field trips to here and there, to where maybe students don't have that opportunity today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
yeah.
What was your mom like growing up?
Well, she had 8 children. They were there as parents. They minded our safety. They wanted to make sure that I think we had a good structure and good beginning. We were regulated, go to school, come back, and have the weekends. They wanted us to be healthy. We ate organic foods, and of course we had the 10 acres to just roam around and visit the neighbors. So they encouraged us to do that, visit with the neighbors, but we stuck pretty close together as a family and did a lot
With
together.
lots of kids, there was.
Yeah.
So do you get along with all your siblings, and you have, like, you still have
In the
good
beginning,
connection with them?
Yeah. We all stayed together as a family. We had the old wood stoves back then, and we had to walk a bit to go to the bathroom. The outhouse. Yeah. So now that I look back, I'm really glad that Mom encouraged this and was a part of this and wanted us to be healthy and yeah. So
What were your teen years like?
that there were some changes. Yeah, Mom and Dad. It didn't work out, but we moved closer to town in the little city at the time, and Dad moved into the city. We gave up the farm, or they gave up the farm and got my parents situated. My mom bought a house, so that whatever came out of the farm, she was able to put that down as a down payment. Or something, and provide a house and be stable that way. As teenagers, by then, well, I was a young teenager at that point. It was really hard on me, but I kept it quiet to myself. I kind of just worked through it myself and then carried on with my daily routines. Yeah, I did that, and of course all my siblings were much younger than that, and then the drinking started, and it kind of impacted the siblings as well.
So your parents were drinking?
My mom.
Your mom?
My mom a lot, so it she lost balance, of everything, and my dad is stabilized. He took in some things, but not a major problem. So with us living with my mom, that impacted, I would say, my siblings. I somehow looked at my core and made up my mind. I didn't want to do those things. So young people can look into themselves and try and determine what's best for yourself. And whether you want to go down the path where it's destructive and impacted with alcohol and drugs. So at a very, very young age, I knew that I didn't want to do that. So it's looking inside and kind of a spiritual, like an awareness. So that's where that began. And since then, no drugs, no alcohol. Yeah. But the siblings were impacted, in one form or another.
Yeah. All of your siblings have had different journeys than you, different paths.
Very different. Some with religion, continued with religion.
Were you growing up religious?
I started out, but then I outgrew it. I would say it was too. I outgrew it. It just was performative.
Were you
Right.
Catholic?
No,
No.
No.
no, LDS,
Okay.
LDS.
Latter-day Saint.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. My mom did that for a while too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she cycled through a lot of seeking.
Yeah. My mom too. When she moved off reserve, she's seeking different ones,
Oh, okay.
and then eventually kind of connected with the LDS. But it was too routine, performative. The spiritual aspect wasn't there. It was a community for sure where people needed to connect
Right.
around values. But and as a result of the LDS, they had that Indian student placement program where, because it was a voluntary thing between the parents and the church, they said the children could participate, and ended up in Alberta actually.
So what was that? What?
The Indian student placement program.
Yeah.
The church had a removal. I mean, it was volunteer, but it was highly encouraged.
So it was coercive.
Highly
coercive.
encouraged. Yeah.
So it was what, removing the children from the home
it
and
was
placing them?
volunteer. Mom agreed, and of course a teenager. Oh yeah, I'm game. You know, basically. Was
Yeah.
my
I'll go
idea.
live somewhere else.
I'll go try something else. But it was a removal and integrate Indigenous youth with families elsewhere,
Other LDS
other LDS.
families.
How old were you?
I believe I was about 14,
Oh,
13,
wow.
14. And
So you were young.
Yeah. Yeah, but I, even though I went, I didn't feel it was natural. It was,
Right.
so I really had a hard time adjusting to the situation. I was moved a few times, or I asked to be moved. I just couldn't settle into that situation.
The family that you were placed with.
Right.
So you went through a bunch of placements to.
Right.
Did you find one that worked?
No, not really. No. At one point, in December, I said, I've got to go home. And I was just insistent. And I did go home for December to that June. And then I ended up back on again. So, but I graduated. The only good thing I can see out of that time period is routine. Very, there were it was taught, avoiding alcohol, drugs, tea, coffee. And all
Yeah,
that.
they have a very restrictive diet, and like part of their church things, it's part of their doctrines, I think, right? The
Yes.
abstinence of
Right.
substances, abstinence of a lot of things.
Yeah, and yeah, and waiting to get married at a later age, and just all that. So somehow that was part of my learning process. But in talking with at the missionaries at that time, I felt I understood about a spiritual connection, although it was through a religion. But I recognized that there is a spirit, a connection, and having a spiritual journey, and that was impressed. That part stayed with me.
Right.
But I outgrew the church because I didn't feel like it was spiritual.
It didn't meet all the needs. You had questions still beyond
Right.
what they were offering. So
Right.
you run into walls with their answers.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I say. I just outgrew it, and I,
Yeah.
of course, more connected with Indigenous ceremonies and that.
Right.
I have a question. So growing up, was it talked about that you were Indigenous or anything like that? Like, did you knew, or did you not know?
I guess the beginning point actually was with the LDS Church. They played that role where they identified Indigenous people as being Indigenous, but I don't think it was. It didn't have anything about connection to the community people
It was about identifying you as Indigenous
for another purpose.
for the purpose of their
Agenda.
program and
Yeah, programming.
segregation. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That, so it was more of a
A tool.
tool. Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. There weren't any conversations around connection to our Indigenous communities.
Right.
Yeah.
About assimilation more? Based,
Yes.
assimilation-based activities?
Yes, I would
Yeah.
say more that direction than.
Yeah, that would make sense. I guess that's why the program to send them voluntarily to live in other communities with other good LDS families
Yeah,
to learn the ways of how they do things.
Right. And there's no responsibility through the church for doing that.
Yep.
And I'm guessing it because it was a volunteering thing that we agreed. But
You know,
yeah.
I have just a short a story on that. I had a child at 15, and I was convinced by professionals and other people that I volunteered to give her up. I look at that perspective of that methodology now. I understand it as a colonization action to segregate and dismiss relationships and separate at birth people from their children who are Indigenous because they're viewed as being less than. There's no volunteering on our side. We do not volunteer. We are coerced to use the language that they give us, like sitting there in an interrogation to,
Yeah.
but you really want to do this, right?
Well, there's a
You know, there's that level of, because you talk about coercion.
authority and knowing
Yes.
that they're
And manipulation.
that, and there's dismissing your extended family or the maturity of the community as unable to take care of the child.
Yeah, they remove them as equals and make them less than. So it's like this is in your best interest. This is in your child's best
That's the
interest.
quote, yeah.
So that it's a very insidious, coercive way of doing things. Yeah.
I have two sisters actually that were pregnant early on as well with that same ideology. The babies were taken away or agreed or volunteered. It would be best. So it dismissed, our family as unable to take care of grandchildren, children, with extended family, that.
Exactly. So then you lose those children. They're like forever lost to you.
Yeah.
But we realize it happened globally across Turtle Island, specifically to Indigenous people.
Hey, my relatives, super quick pause in this episode of Our Storytellers just to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. The Indigenous Screen Office supports Indigenous narrative sovereignty through storytelling on screen. They provide grants to small podcasts like us to support our growth, and to support the guests that we can have come on. Yeah, big thanks to them. Please check them out on Instagram. Please check out their website. You never know, there might be an opportunity for you on there, especially if you're creating content. Get out there and check them out. Thank you so much to our partners at the Indigenous Green Office. Back to the podcast. So, yeah, let's get back to the story. So, you go into Alberta. You go back in December. Then you're on your way to graduating here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do after graduation?
Oh, well, I was strongly encouraged to sign the papers and send her to, it's Brigham Young University.
Okay.
It's a church, religious university.
Yeah.
So
In Salt Lake City?
Provo.
Okay.
Provo. Did you go?
I went at 18.
What was that experience
Yeah,
like?
yeah. Well, I guess I was supported. I mean, they did all the paperwork. They did the connections and, the paperwork necessary. And then, of course, at BYU, well, they did have a organization. It's called the Tribe of Many Feathers, where Indigenous students were able to connect as an organization under the same values.
Wow. That was what the program was called?
Tribe of Many Feathers, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So socially, we were able to meet together, and there were always social activities around Indigenous content, ceremonies and things. So that became a community as well. But at 18, well, I guess that happens. But yeah, so connected there and went to university and took general classes, and I still wasn't quite sure exactly what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I took some general classes of interest, and and then of course met an Indigenous person, the Navajo. So that's just like way out there for my family. Yeah, so we had children. And
definitely not a cousin.
Definitely not. Yeah.
We always say that in the communities,
I
right?
know. I understand. Yeah.
Date outside your community.
Yeah.
So where were you living with this husband at the time?
Yeah. Just apartments. We lived. We moved a couple of times.
Here?
No, in Provo.
In Provo.
Oh, in Provo.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
you
spent
stayed.
Where's Provo? I actually have no idea.
Salt Lake City, and then it's about 45 minutes south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you lived down in the States for quite a while then?
For about 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you became a
Until-
citizen down there? And,
Dual.
and dual. So you got dual citizenship?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's taking a risk. I mean, I took risks, and that's all part of growing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was confident enough. I didn't feel troubled, like I was unsure of what I was doing. I had confidence. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes right back to my early years of feeling safe with my beginnings.
Right.
So, yeah, I stayed, and I learned about a lot of different Indigenous people and connected. And I would say before, even with our Squamish families, I connected more with Sioux and Navajo there in that. And there's Pueblo and
they got some beautiful teachings down there and beautiful ceremonies. Oh,
yes, yeah. So part of connecting and getting grounded was learning from the four directions and the ceremonies. And I was just connected with that, and even though it was in bits and pieces, but Indigenous thought is a worldview, but practiced differently. But
Totally.
yeah, they have different ceremonies, but from the same spiritual point to be grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're living down there. You have a small family. Like, how are you getting the opportunity to see these ceremonies? Like, what's the story behind finding that? I
Well,
guess?
my the husband then is Navajo. They're very, very traditional. So I was able to go back actually into Arizona with his family and see some of the ceremonies and some of the unique dances and like participate. And I mean, who up here in Squamish can talk about mutton and hogans and lived in a hogan with the fire in the center and yes.
I have no idea. What's a hogan? I have no idea.
It's
It's
a dome structure, and it's well, maybe double this size, or could be this size, or double this room.
Yeah.
And things were situated around with the fire in the center, and then there's walk area. So, yeah, I was connected that way.
Wow.
And then, yeah, well, at university, they had the powwows, and I was able to integrate and understand the Sioux and their ceremonies. And
So they have a lot more of, it was what the local communities that were around Salt Lake as well too. Like a
gathered.
lot of those people came and were integrated in those programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say something that's universal to Indigenous people and the dance was in that particular area is more around the powwows and circle prayers and elder speaking, and I don't think sometimes when we talk about powwow there's a lot that goes on in the circle and preparation and you know, the ceremonies and songs and then with each in each area specific elders from that area are the ones that speak and whatnot. So.
Cool. That's amazing. And then, so kids are getting raised. Like, when do you return to Canada?
After 25 years, I would say it's 93.
Oh, what were you doing for work during that time?
Down there, oh, it was more labor, like warehouse at that time, having 8 children and working.
You have 8 children.
Yeah, the thing that I think what's consistent through my beginning childhood is the work ethics and being productive and being a good citizen, right straight through. So when we're talking about me with my 8 children and going to work, that's part of the work ethics.
Wow.
Being able to
Having 8 children is a lot of work.
yes.
Yeah, kind of wrestling them all. So and
That
doing
was
that.
but that is the philosophy. There is the large families.
Absolutely,
with the
yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
They strongly encourage like,
large families.
prolifically large families. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like
So you were doing your bit.
yeah, doing my bit and with along with work ethics, and so
Yeah.
How is a work ethic? Like, how has that theme been throughout your life? Would you say?
it's given me purpose, like whatever the circumstances are, to work through the situation and keeping in mind, because I saw that in my mom and dad in the beginning. They just worked hard on the land, and my dad worked, so I saw that and from the beginning, and then the church always had in mind to be a good citizen and follow the laws, um, and you know, always encouraged to do your part in community.
Right. Yeah, I think my mom joined the Latter-day Saints when she was in Kamloops at that time when she went to work there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably like the 80s, I'm gonna say, for a period of time.
Oh,
So she got
really?
involved and
Oh, okay.
she was baptized,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
you know, did the whole water bath in the middle of the
Yeah,
church
yeah,
and
yeah,
in front of the
yeah.
community, right? You know, we went to watch. They tried to indoctrinate us. I say try because by then my father was, he wasn't inclined to kind of support religious institutions. So there was always a split for him on that, and he's like, yeah, you can do that, it's okay, Barb. Don't involve me in your shit.
Right.
Because he didn't want to be.
I understand.
Yeah,
Actually.
so he didn't, you know, but my parents stayed together even though they had like quite, because she was on quite a journey of religious significance to try and find some connection, I guess, in that way, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, she ended up coming back to being a Catholic anyhow in the end, you know?
That's interesting. Women hold on to the religious component. My
Yes.
situation is similar, where my dad, same attitude, gave Mom the opportunity, or not gave, but encouraged her to, you know, do what she wants to do. But on my dad's side, he was more interested in the Communist Party back
Right.
then.
Yeah.
And that was so in politics earlier in both American and Canadian history. I think it's the utopian, like all for one for all sort of thing. And Dad had books on Marxism and things
wow.
at the kitchen table when I was younger, but I didn't connect with it. But I do remember we went to the Soviet Army chorus or something in Victoria. Actually,
Wow.
took us there. But I think it came.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been very interesting and different
Yeah,
kind of an experience.
Yeah, I went and all that. But I think Dad participated more, and that ended up in the breakup. He wanted to move to Russia.
Oh, wow. So the split was quite, it really fundamentally, their views went in different directions.
Right. And then in the end, he never, he stayed close to the Communist Party, but of course didn't move to Russia.
Right.
But, so I had that background as well.
Yeah.
Very diverse.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It was very much, and ours was much the same way too. My parents had very differing political views. It caused separation for a period, but they actually came back together in the end, and they lived kind of communally in the house together. He was downstairs and she was upstairs. It was very different, but they went to community events together. They went to dinners. They did family things. You know, they just kind of did their own thing. So.
So 25 years, kids are raised-ish. When do you come back? What triggers you to come back?
Oh no, my oldest was 14 when we moved back. It was just, I had to do that, be with my family.
Here.
Here on the island, so they were actually 14 and under, eight of them, so into school, public school, and just got settled. And of course I applied for a support worker in the school district, and so I did that for almost a decade. Yeah, and on my children, with the background of everything in my teachings, at this point, my children are well, they do well. And we've always encouraged that, like, I have nothing to worry about on their work ethics. I'm so proud of them. They're doing well, and they're on their own, and I have nothing to worry about. So that leaves me now to do my own thing.
Is that why you want to kind of have the van so you can go and spend time with them, or is that? I wonder
that you're getting ahead here. No, because I ended up going to UBC and graduated in women's studies and gender relations. So that kind of is an opportunity to bring a perspective, and in the political arena or the social arena. So I'm doing that, and then while my children are self-sufficient and able to manage without any worry, I do plan on pursuing a master's once I get settled here and do that.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I just want to say, elders, you can go to university and do your bachelor's, get your master's, do your PhD. With our minds can be active and healthy and alert and carry on and keep learning and adjusting to circumstances.
Where did you work when you came back to the island?
The school district.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
support
that's
worker.
okay.
I'm sorry about that.
But then you moved from Victoria at some point, or the island at some point, to
go to university.
And that was UBC.
Right. Yeah.
And then from UBC,
We're catching up over here, you and I.
Yeah, UBC. So when you go to UBC, when did you go to UBC?
Would be 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Graduated 2006. So some classes transferred from the South University some of them.
Yeah, not everything.
Not everything. Transferred here, and I was able to carry on. Oh, and while at university, I actually took Hunkaminam, the Musqueam language.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was not an opportunity to take Squamish, the Squamish language.
It took a long time to catch
Yeah.
up to some level of sharing in our community. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
It was being hoarded
right,
quite a bit. Yeah.
and still.
And still, yes, you're right.
on
There's
other
a
things,
lot
yeah.
of things that are being restrictive within our community.
Right. And so hence I took Hunkaminam. But as I delve into Squamish language where I can, living off reserve, I can see how the words are a little bit similar. So I'm able to pick up on that a little bit and
That's
kind of work
excellent.
through that. Yeah. And then I take advantage, living off reserve, the resources that are available to kind of understand more and our history and whatnot.
Yeah, me as well. It makes sense, right? You're right. It makes sense at our age to be in a, more learning and reading and reflecting and doing that kind of stuff. So I look at the pursuit of things like masters and PhD and that at our time level as an opportunity to articulate things using colonial tools for actual skills that we already existingly have, but then it becomes what you say accredited in the Western Eurocentric world. So it's not about like we already have that knowledge. This is just articulating it. Is that
embedding our Indigenous worldview into our lived experience
Absolutely.
within the colonial system. Yeah, we're able to articulate that better. And well, to a certain degree, I guess universities have their own politics as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So acquiring their accreditations just, to me, just validates the knowledge that's our lived experience exists now. So we already have that. It just kind of meets their
Working.
checks and balances to get their little certificates to say, yeah, you really do know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if we look at, reading Castellano, he talks about Indian school, Indian education, and the way he describes it is like, young man gets in a canoe with old man, paddle, makes them paddle. They're talking. He's telling them what this place is, why it's important. And then he's saying, now repeat it back to me. And that, it seems simple, but it's not, because it's actually very precise in knowing exactly where that place is, knowing what its name is, being able to say all the reasons why it's a sacred place, and all the things that go with it. It's all the depth and breadth. So he explains that how oral language works, how oral teachings work, that they take, a long time to learn it precisely, but the care and attention to that precision is important. And it's no less different than the education of going to university and articulating your papers, your essays, your marks and checks and balances, and it's there. So, he talks about our medicine men, 10 years in the bush, learning. That's a doctor.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm trying to use the word storytelling here in the community on our social media as why that's valuable. It's a very indirect way of teaching.
Yeah.
It's not like pointing a finger at, say, heads of family. Well, this is how you do it. No, but true storytelling is, and primarily the animals provide the teaching in the stories.
Yeah.
So it's a very indirect way of teaching, and it doesn't point fingers at any specific person, but it's a very generous, humble way of teaching.
Gentle
way of teaching.
I think it also, I think the stories just tell you why.
A moral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teaching
Teaches
values.
you why.
They
we do
provide the
things.
values.
The values, yeah. That, and I just want, as they're thinking, I guess they're going to construct that administration building, but when they were putting out the searching for ideas, the one idea that I presented was to have a fireplace right in the entryway, like maybe a big area right here, and the fire, and there might be opportunities for groups or individual groups to come there around the fire and teach storytelling or ways of learning, whatever that we need to learn in the community, and have that area as a teaching opportunity as well.
And a welcoming area.
And
that firing is a welcome. A welcome to all, right?
Let's see if that happens.
Yeah.
Hi, my relatives. If you're enjoying this podcast, or if you have any feedback on this podcast, please let us know, because we're always trying to get better at the same time. But especially if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we have some really cool projects coming out that you might want to check out. Please follow us on Spotify. Share our reels as well too. That helps us out so much. And yeah, just check us out. Share the word. We're working really hard to keep this content coming for you. And the support helps us out so much, and we're so grateful. Thank you so much for listening. Back to the podcast. What's a family story that stood out to you that you heard growing up?
I know that my mom tried a little bit of speaking Squamish, and her background and her teachings a little bit, not storytelling. She didn't.
Could be any story though, like a story about your ancestors, a story about your family, anything.
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of one right now.
That's
like
okay.
Yeah.
That's why we edit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so when do you, so you come back here, like, I'm just curious, because, like, after hearing your story, are you identifying yourself as Squamish even when you're down south? Like, everywhere you go, are you identifying as Squamish? Yeah.
Yeah. We can be anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to take the Squamish out of us, basically? I mean, we know that we are Squamish internally. I mean, we can go across the globe and you can't take that out of you.
Except by legislation.
Yeah, that. So if the opportunities are there to learn and to build on that Squamish identity, to do so. But some of our relatives are just suffering and aren't able to do that. So it's a big loss.
They don't know who they are and their family connections.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens. It doesn't matter how much I put forward information to my family. It doesn't mean that they're going to connect because they're suffering in different capacities. So, but I guess we can always just keep trying about identity, and Indigenous worldview is so sophisticated, simple but sophisticated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we teach it from very young. So you see, when we look at that, we understand more why interruption was pulling the children away. Because all of our teaching started from birth, day one. Me, we're singing them here, we're welcoming them here, we're enclosing them, blanketing them, lifting them up, holding them as precious.
Right.
And then we start our teachings as they walk out, as they grow. Every day there's
And through language.
through language, because the language, one word means so much.
A picture, sometimes,
Sometimes a
small
whole
word.
image.
It's a whole, it's a image.
Yeah, and the language that we're taught, this language we use now, this English language, isn't as inclusive. You require so many words to make the image that maybe one of those words would represent. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we see the different worldviews when you start to understand them.
What did you mean by simple and sophisticated?
Well, a fire is the basic fire, building a fire, and then all the components around building the ceremony, gathering the wood, offering tobacco or cedar, or smudging, and then building the fire. The fire is the idea, but it's very sophisticated and that was practiced and known in our Indigenous communities, and that's just starting from there. Yeah.
How did you learn that?
That I don't know where. Well, I guess I can go back to my when I was a baby. Thank goodness I had that beginning, but it's also something, maybe a recall of our ancestors. I don't know. It was there spiritually.
Blood memory?
We were talking about this on the phone when you and I first talked.
Yes,
Yeah. You mentioned, and it's actually one of my questions, but I think you described it while we were talking on the phone as genetic recall. And I was going to ask you, could you describe what that feeling feels like, or how do you know?
It's a spiritual recall, I guess. I just think of my relatives who have passed away, my grandmothers, my grandfathers, and I think about, when we read Quetzalano, some of their experiences. I mean, I'm catching up on Quetzalano because of the recall. It matches with what the books are saying. It's just the yeah the simplicity of that knowledge, but it is very complicated, and it's just a recall, I guess.
When I think about the simplicity, like, it's simple but highly interrelated. That's how it feels. You know what I mean? Connected
Interconnected.
exactly, connected to everything else.
Yeah.
But the lesson is simple,
Mm-hmm.
but it connects to other things.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
why, exactly, that's what adds the complexity to it, and why you'll never know it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Because there's...
It's like when we talk about the building of a teepee. How many numbers of poles
People,
go
yeah.
into it? How much each thing has a purpose.
Yeah.
Each thing has a teaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, and Cree is a great example of this with their syllabics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they call it syllabics as what the label has been given by that. But each of those written symbols, or those symbols, represents a prayer, a song, a deity, a periodic symbol of, you know, representation, and words. It represents, they plug in together to make bigger concepts and bigger constructs, and
That's right. Yeah.
so they all plug in, and it becomes, it's bigger than what the individual thing is, so that then you add synergy to that, which creates a much bigger feeling as well as understanding. So it's connected with feeling,
Interconnectedness.
yeah, feeling, spirit,
Yeah.
physical, visual,
Social,
yeah.
I've got a question. So you grew up off reserve. And what advice would you give to a youth today that's currently growing up off reserve?
Well, the way I started was to connect with the spirituality and listen, maybe to listen to inspiration, for even if it's for yourself, while other things are going on, and stabilize and get grounded. Using those inspirations and like coming in touch with your core and spirituality, and listen to that. The very, very high percentage of youth will probably follow what's going on, and it may be down the path that's not the best or going to help them, and they can be easily swayed if you're not grounded. And you know, so we need more opportunities, and having a space to be to understand spirituality and what that really means as a guiding force. And that's and I've just carried that through my lifetime, where you know, and just made my way forward in my own path.
What does ceremony mean to you?
We're back to it's a simple word, but there's a lot attached to that in preparation. Sometimes I see on social media an opportunity to say a prayer, but it's so much more than that. It's actual community participation is unifying, like, our unique ways of being Indigenous, and each Indigenous group, like I said before, practice it maybe a little differently. Like, we're here in the Longhouse, but elsewhere there's the teepees or hogans.
Sun
but
dances.
it's coming together as a community and as a collective. And ceremony starts from day one. Well, even in the womb, there's practices, women's practices, and there's ceremony for different stages of our life, and even that branches out. So there's different types of ceremonies throughout our life that keep us together as a community, and they can be that can be an opportunity to. It starts with the fire, and then it could be a person, or it could be a community, and then celebrating, feasting. That's a ceremony. Being in a circle.
Sounds like everything is a ceremony.
From
That it's a natural, organic
all the way,
part of
all the way
the
through life.
process, right?
Life is a ceremony.
Yeah. A lot of origin stories I hear from
Yes.
back home, like back in Cree ceremonies and many others we've been to.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the talk is in that same way, that it was very much a daily thing. They get up and smoke their pipes in the morning. They do their prayers, their gratitude for being here to walk another day. And then that would start the tone of the life for the day for the household. So the ceremony started, like you said, very much through every part of
Day of life.
it was a walk in life. It's integrated and woven to all the pieces of what you do.
And the good news is, it's participation. It's actual participation. Got to be there,
Presence.
present, and at the ceremony. It's not over social media. So when people are, they've come to a point where we'll say a prayer, but that's very minimal. I mean, it's important, but we've lost our Indigenous ways of coming together daily and through our whole life. And there are different songs that come with the ceremonies. There are different stories that come with each ceremony, like for mothers and for youth coming of age. It's all different, but use the same method.
Yes. Absolutely.
What do you want, like, youth in my generation to start actioning or working on today?
Your spiritual connection, and then from there, well, your purpose, and it doesn't always necessarily mean consumerism, or sometimes it just can be yourself and having a purpose spiritually, and that might be different than earning money. So maybe not so much the emphasis on material things, because you can see by the end, when elders become older, they live a minimal life, and all the material things aren't really that important. It's being connected to your family and your relatives, your community. Yeah, so it's kind of reducing to your mind, and being grounded spiritually.
Would you say that finding your purpose and grounding yourself spiritually takes work?
Yes, you said it.
You
Participation. You've got to get out there and have a community to connect with, mentors to help you through those ceremonies, and then out of that, youth will feel like No, well, maybe I want to be out in the environment. Maybe that's my purpose, but with the education out in the environment, or yeah, things like that.
Good old-fashioned visiting and participating with
high.
there's, it can't be overstated enough how the presence of
Exactly.
sitting and having coffee with people that can provide mentoring, provide just storytelling to in action, so they hear it, they see it, they experience it, because it's a
Yeah.
presence, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's
Exactly.
I hope
Yeah.
one day somebody describes me as simple yet relationally complex. That's my goal.
Well, you can say that now if you're if you have it within you, you understand it. You are that, and so like for you to sit and explain, it would take like a couple of hours to explain what you know. So it is complex. So you are there.
That's
there
great.
you go.
I want that on my gravestone too.
Okay.
Long past our time.
Simple but complex.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Simple yet complex.
yeah, for you to, for what you know, you can't say it in a sentence, so.
I can. I feel like I can.
Yeah.
When I know nothing.
But you're
Just kidding.
learning.
I understand
But you're
what you-
learning.
Yeah, exactly. No, I appreciate that lesson though, and that means a lot to hear.
Yeah.
It's just validating you and what you know. I mean, it's all in there, and we're just reducing it like for the public. But you know a lot, really, what you've been taught and what you participate in.
I appreciate that. I always do my best to participate and try. And you know what? Honestly, I've been having so much fun recording these podcasts because, especially like these matriarch podcasts, because I get to just sit and learn. And I haven't come out of one of these conversations not learning something that's completely blown my mind. You know?
Thank you for providing that opportunity to bring in our stories together and have the opportunity to review them and know our lived experiences and become community again.
One of the things I learned in my last in this degree was it wasn't just about going to school to fill time and get a degree and to maybe learn history, because I started in education and then it turned to Indigenous studies, and then I finished my last year in women's gendered studies as well. So, but it was interesting, that progression through it, because one of the things I did find that I started to incorporate after the first year was to fully incorporate land-based teachings on my off time between terms. So I went on the land and I harvested medicines, and I went to learn from people who knew what they were doing, and I did the gifting and the protocoling and seeking the knowledge of my aunties and seeking the knowledge of things that were in our, my grandmother was a master basket weaver. It was her profession. It was her thing. All the other things she did, that was her skill set, and that was her master's. Her doctorate was in that. But connecting back to that knowledge, kind of as I got through my 4 years, brought me to that final journey, which is, I did learn to harvest cedar and then to process it and then to learn to weave with it. And I mean, I created my first hat. It's a little fugly. It looks more like a bucket hat, but it was my first cedar hat. And it was my project to, like, how complex that task was to get from, you know, knowing we have cedar weavers to today in this place, physically creating that and knowing how that cedar worked and how it did, you know, and now like I created my own goal of making sure that my teaching I got was that I understood that I need to make hats for all of my children, that they should have their own hat from our family. That, but that's part of the teachings. Coming to do this project and being able to do this with my son, who has a whole other, you know, level of skill set to work in that way to bring storytelling. Because I mean, I talk to him about what I'm doing all the time, and then he's like, so he goes and he gets a podcast created, and he takes mom and he interviews her, and it's like everybody's like, wow, that was great. And then it evolved up to more. So as I'm talking about, you know, what I was studying, matriarchs, and you know, finding how little our women have been written about by ourselves, because everything that's been written about us is largely written by not Indigenous women. So it came to the point where I said, there has to be a different way to obtain this information. Where are these people and what are they doing today? Do we still have a connection to our families? So as this project evolved, we come to this place where now we're sitting here in real time, having a conversation that is asking the questions of who are we today? And realizing that our families are still connected, even more so than ever, and that a lot of those things of that oral storytelling has survived through, and it survived through the women, because the women have protected those personal stories. And when it isn't till they're asked and really genuinely approached and said, talk, tell us your story, tell us who you are, tell us how we are connected. And then it's evolved to this place where we are now, right? And the conversations we're having, I'm just like, wow, there's just all the questions I've been writing in my papers under my thesis arguments are all about, they're being answered in real time, because those family connections through the genealogy are all being tied together now.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing to have that time, and it's a wonderful experience for me, and to be able to share it with my sons, because you know, I have one son here, but we have four.
And then I get to share it with my brothers too.
Yeah,
That's
Right,
important. But
right. One thing you did mention about land-based, with not only my children, I took them out for the, and my grandchildren, out camping in the summertime, because we went to the different powwow things, but we were outside and camping through all kinds of weather, and we've got to know and understand the environment to be outside and appreciate. And then now with the grandchildren, I actually spend at least 2 months out land-based in the different areas on the land. It's not just going to the powwow and the circle and the prayers there, but actually out for extended amount of time to appreciate the environment and the land. And so I incorporate that with my children and grandchildren.
So it keeps that momentum of oral and land-based teaching moving along.
Exactly.
It is organic, it is natural, it is how individual families are keeping those things alive.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
what do you want? What's your wish for the community?
More structure. Like a governance, so that we're all on the same page. More structure, that means putting in place like the family heads and and how we organize as individual families, but how we come together. I know I think it was with Quetzalano, the heads of families, if there was an issue, they put their egos aside. In humbleness, they came together. How do we figure this out? They came to a decision, and then that's how it was, without
But everybody was called to come and talk.
called to have their input.
Yeah.
And it's not structured like it is today. And that's how they knew and understand themselves as a community and as a group. Somehow the values they were like incorporated spiritually and simply, and they were enforced as well. I mean, if you were caught lying once, you were warned, but 2 and 3 times later, you're lying and not telling the truth. You were a goner.
Yeah.
So
You could be banished for...
just for not telling the truth. Yeah, and then it goes on from there. So, yeah.
I forget where I heard this. I think I was in a ceremony at work or something like that, but like when the leadership would come together and they would negotiate and talk and hear other people out, and everyone had their time. And when the decision was made, that was the decision.
Yeah.
And that was, once you accepted the decision and everyone agreed, then that was how it was. And I was at work actually this last week, and they're working on changing the culture of healthcare, what that looks like. And it always comes down to, brainstorming. What do I need to feel respected? What do I need to feel trusted? What do I need to feel whatever? They're writing it all down on these pieces of paper. And it comes to me, and I'm like, to be honest with you, like where I come from, like, we don't write those things down. It's in our word, like,
Yeah.
I feel like the difference in worldviews is that our words mean something when we say them. And it is the commitment when you speak it into existence, rather than writing it down, being, this is what we agree on. But if you live it, you live the agreement out.
Yeah, it's backwards,
Yeah.
for sure. Instead of saying it that way, it should be the integrity of in having those values taught proves that you respect, rather than asking the question, why am I not respected? So it's contradictory to our Indigenous worldview, because we were taught, and that conversation would never happen, because it was expected in the community to be respectful, and you're taught that way.
Would you like to be a guest on Our Storytellers? Because all you have to do to connect with us is just email info@ourstorytellers.ca, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. That sounds like a voicemail, which I think is hilarious. But if you email us, we'll give you a call and we'll listen to your story, and we'll probably film it. So please reach out to us if you're interested in being a guest, because we love to share stories from all walks of life, from all different experiences. We think that everybody's story is valuable and that you can learn from anybody's story. So please email us, and we'll schedule a call with you as soon as we can. That also sounds like a voicemail, but back to the podcast.
It's a ceremony in itself, right? So we
Well,
talk
this
about
is-
organic ceremonies. We
Yeah.
really mean that connection that way.
Anywho,
Spontaneous smudging.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, that is true. Yeah.
That always the opportunity there.
yeah, I mean,
So when you moved from your degree, because I know I want to go back to know how you ended up in Kamloops. where that brought you, like, as you've kind of been traveling around and doing things.
Yeah, so off reserve. I've just been able to adapt. So after I had finished university, what to do? I know my daughter needed assistance, so she moved in with us and for a short time, and then my other daughter, who came down to visit from Kamloops, and her husband or partner, I don't know how we got talking about a house. I said, why don't we just combine resources and buy a house? And it happened.
Yeah.
So we went there, and that was before, that was a decade ago, when the houses were reasonable.
Yes.
So, so we went up to Kamloops, looked around, showed a few, and were shown a few, and then we made a choice and bought the house. Yeah, so that's how I ended up in Kamloops, because she's there with her family and working there, and conversation came up, and we pooled, and
There you went.
there we are.
Would you like to dedicate the podcast to anybody?
My mother, I guess, my relatives, my grandmother.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish we asked you about?
I can't think of anything, of course, at the moment. I probably will later, but I think there's a lot that we've spoken about.
Well, if you think of something later,
Okay.
you know where I live,
Yeah.
and this room is for you. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you ever want to come back for a tea or anything like that,
Have another chat.
hang out. No cameras. Cameras doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
And I understand there's going to be future projects after.
Yes,
later.
I'm hoping to do more to bring breadth and depth to the project. 'Cause-
Meaningful.
Yeah. Well, because I think that kind of this journey to learn about our women and learn about our stories and connect our families has added more questions than seeking answers. Because I initially started out looking to seek answers about the unknown names in our genealogy, and talk to others about the existence of that, but where that is. And then doing the literature review on Catalano's book, I really discovered throughout it that it was his mother who held all the teachings and then made sure he was raised in a good way. Because anybody who in here wrote about or talked about him as, well, you know Catalano, and they're like, oh yeah, he's an authentic man, he's a historian, he's an honest, hardworking. And I thought, all those qualities of what they were saying about him, he got them because he was raised well. Because his mother made sure that he had all the teachings he needed to go into this world and be a good man. And that came out in the colonial words. So I thought, there really is something to how those teachings come down through that, how the women hold the home fire and keep it. So it became more, I wanted to know more, and I wanted to know more with actual women in our community who are, their lived experience, which just rounds out the picture and makes it a bigger,
Inclusive community, yeah.
helps us connect.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for taking this on. And it's an opportunity for our community to have their voices heard, especially women.
Actually heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, and just so much gratitude for you coming. I can't even express how grateful that I am to be able to sit in presence with you.
Yeah, thanks for
It's
the
very
opportunity to
important.
listen. It means a lot.
It's
Thank
very
you.
important for
for
us.
setting this up and being a part of this as well.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.